Tonight on Ballroom Boxing, electricity is in the air. Stars are in the house at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. In the ring, the featured bout, world-ranked junior welterweight Reggie Green, looking for win number 23, taking on tough Ken the Man Jamerson in a rematch of their war of 3 years ago. Renowned trainer Kevin Rooney with us ringside with his unique perspective on the sport of boxing. He'll also have his up-and-coming bantamweight Mike Thomas seeing action. As an added attraction, almost 600 pounds of heavyweights will collide in the center of the ring. We hope the ring can take it. Women's champion Christy Martin is in attendance. She'll give us the latest on her career and her sport, women's boxing. Buckle up. Ballroom Boxing is next on HTS. Welcome to Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Ballroom Boxing. Hi again, everybody. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno. Competitive fights, the hallmark of Michael's 8th Avenue. One thing for sure, the crowd is ready to rumble.
Well, I know Larry and I had a hard time finding a parking spot tonight, so there's a lot of people here. And the promoter, Scott Wagner, always tries to build competitive fights, even between fighters who sometimes don't have the best of records.
Well, the headliner is certainly a familiar name. Reggie Green, 22-2. He is ranked in the world, and Reggie Green on the comeback trail. He still has his sights set on a world championship.
Well, they got Reggie working very hard in the gym right now. He's got new trainers, including Dave Jacobs, who worked with Sugar Ray Leonard in the past. And this fight hopefully will lead to a fight against a crosstown rival, Charm-Bay Mitchell, if things continue to go right for Reggie Green.
Now, we talk about the crowd here at Michael's. Heavyweights on the card tonight, competitive fights. How much of a factor is the live crowd here tonight?
Well, Larry, if a fighter's not used to a close crowd next to him, on top of him, and very loud, then he's not going to fare well in a building like this. You've got to have a fighter who has some experience with some crowds.
Well, it is crowded. The action is ready to begin. Back with our first bout in just a moment. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. We're at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. I'm Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno. Great to have you with us. Time now for the Maryland State Athletic Commission rules. First, the 3 knockdown rule is in effect here tonight. There will be no standing 8 count. Fighter can be saved by the bell only in the final round. The referee or the doctor can stop the bout. And of course, 3 judges scoring on the 10-point must system. Let's get it all started. Let's head up ring announcer Pat O'Malley.
Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks trimmed in gold, from Salisbury, Maryland, weighing 115 pounds. Making his professional debut, please welcome Andre Gator Henry. To my right, in the red corner, wearing the red trunks trimmed in white, from Baltimore, Maryland, weighing 114 pounds, managed by Jake the Snake Smith and trained by ex-Mike Tyson trainer Kevin Rooney, with a record of 1-0 with 1 knockout. Please welcome Michael Little M.T. Thomas. The judges will be Ken Chevalier, Bill Holmes, and Joe Nyland.
The familiar face of Kevin Rooney in the corner of Mike Thomas. And you know, Mike Thomas will be conditioned if Kevin Rooney is training him.
You also need earplugs by the time Rooney gets done screaming at him in the corner with that unmistakable Rooney voice.
And look at the way Henry looks down on Thomas. He's got him by a good 6 to 8 inches in height. Pro debut for Andre Henry. Mike Thomas comes in a record of 1-0. Thomas, a good-looking prospect from Baltimore, Maryland.
Yeah, quite an amateur career. Won a couple of national titles. Now turning pro under Kevin Rooney.
Henry on his toes. These are flyweights scheduled for 4 rounds.
When they move like mosquito weights. Boy, are they quick.
Mike Thomas already beginning to stalk Henry just a bit. Henry fires out a right hand. Thomas keeping his hands high. Good body shot by Henry. Winging right hand by Henry.
Henry does have a sizable reach advantage. He should be using that left jab to keep Thomas off of him. Oh, good body shot inside by Henry. Right to the midsection of Mike Thomas.
Thomas, the overhand right, finds the chin, glancing blow. Mike Thomas in the red trunks. Big overhand right by Thomas. Henry is hurt. Thomas trying to close him out. Henry up against the ropes. Long way to go still here in round one.
He's covering up. He's doing it now. He turned his back. That's a fighter signaling he wants to fight to end.
It was the overhand right that got it started. Got to give Henry some credit for guts. He's up, and he's going to continue. In the corner of Thomas, waving him in.
He's really hurt, though, Larry. He can't even get his vision. You know what? The fight should be stopped because he can't even see straight.
He said he's all right. He's a warrior. Mike Thomas working in. The right hand did the damage the first time. Another overhand right.
He's blinking with the left eye, Larry. He can't even see out of the left eye.
Henry in a lot of trouble. Thomas really digging body shots, going low, going high. Referee thinking about stopping it. Another right hand.
Referee Malik Waleed's first job is to protect the fighter at all times, and he's not protecting Andre Henry right now. But Henry...
Nice jab by Henry. He's open to the overhand right, though. It's there all night.
If you want to make the argument, Henry is punching back with the jab.
Thomas trying to work some angles here. Henry, stationary target right up against the ropes.
Well, what a beating Henry's taken this round. He's somehow weathering the storm so far, Larry.
Henry trying to work, scores with the right hand. Turning it around, another right hand. Henry, good body shot. One knockdown in the first round.
I think Thomas is a little surprised here that Henry has come back so strong. I know I am.
Closing moments of round one. Thomas moving southpaw. Henry tying him up. Maybe he should have done that a little bit earlier. Good first round of boxing. Mike Thomas, a big overhand right, puts Henry down. And are you surprised he lasted, John? Here's a replay.
I definitely am surprised. I mean, he had him pinned up against the ropes, and normally when a fighter goes down like that and turns his back on his opponent, that's a signal to the referee that he doesn't want any more. And even after Thomas had gotten up, after Henry got up, he was blinking out of the left eye, could barely see out of it, it appeared to us here at ringside. But there you see the body work by Mike Thomas, just pinning Henry against the ropes and not allowing him to get off the ropes. But some of those shots are missing there, a little bit wide. I think Mike Thomas got a little bit excited there, couldn't quite finish him off with a good headshot.
So round two getting set to begin. Round two underway at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland, and the referee waiting for Kevin Rooney to clear the corner of Mike Thomas.
I'm still trying to figure out how Andre Henry, particularly in his pro debut, made it out of that round. He showed a lot of guts.
Now Thomas has to be careful he doesn't headhunt right here and go for that one punch. He knows the right hand was there in the first round. No swelling around the eye, which was causing Henry a lot of discomfort.
Did you see Thomas with that rocking side to side a la Mike Tyson? He just shows it ever so slightly when he moved in the first time. There you go. It's a peekaboo style formulated by Custom Motto, used by Floyd Patterson and Tyson, although I wouldn't really say it's a true peekaboo out of Thomas. And Rooney screaming to Thomas to get on top of him with that jab.
Henry has the reach advantage, and there you see trying to keep Thomas away with that left hand.
There you see that rocking side to side, trying to be elusive, but you also have to throw punches when you're coming in. It's not good enough just to be moving. You have to be throwing something. That's what Kevin Rooney's upset about right now.
Henry has really come back beautifully here in round two. Big right hand, though.
Well, you know, Larry, he made the turnaround at the end of that first round when he got back into the fight, and I think it might have planted a seed of doubt inside of Thomas. I mean, Thomas figures he threw his best shots. He might have actually punched himself out at the end of that first round.
Midway through round two.
Thomas fighting an entirely different round in the second round here. He's really more on the defensive, and he's allowing his opponent to take it to him.
Henry showing no signs of that first round knockdown, and he hits Thomas. Thomas is hurt. He's rubbery-legged.
And the right hand buckled his knees. He's in trouble.
Thomas certainly in some trouble. Holding on. Smart move by Mike Thomas. Now Henry needs some room to operate.
Henry getting a little excited too, Larry, throwing the wild right hands. He needs to go down to the body to get Thomas to drop those hands, where then he can hit him with a headshot.
Henry growing in confidence here in round 2. You can just see it by his body language.
Henry a little off balance sometimes when he throws his shots, and he's throwing them from the outside. He needs to continue to move inside behind the jab, but there you see him just stepping forward without jabbing.
Another uppercut just misses by Henry.
Yeah, Larry, he's teeing off now. He thinks he can get this kid out of here, and maybe he's right.
Another right hand by Henry. Thomas tags him back. Great fight here in Glen Burnie. Another left hand by Henry.
Well, Thomas, you know, he's not jabbing at all, and he's not keeping Henry off of him. He's got to jab and also move to the side when he rushes in close like that.
Round 2 coming to an end. Turning into a very interesting fight. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. It's Mike Thomas in the red trunks. Andre Henry in the black trunks with the yellow trim. And in the first round, Thomas almost had Henry completely out. Put him down with the right hand. Henry came back nicely in the second round and shook Thomas rubbery leg.
Boy, Henry wants to turn this into a war, Larry.
He's to the left.
He's killing him with the right hand, too. He started out the round by jabbing and moving laterally to his left, but as soon as Thomas came inside and showed he wanted to rumble, he was more than willing.
Jab of Andre Henry really turning the tide. He needs distance. That's what he needs, and he's getting it with that jab.
It helps him with leverage on his punches, no question about that. And Henry really has gotten the worst of it when they've come inside for close exchanges. Excuse me, Thomas has.
Thomas with his mouth open.
Good body work by both fighters on the inside. A lost art in the sport of boxing.
Henry not punching. Thomas coming back again.
You're right, Larry. Thomas is exhausted. His mouth is just hanging open. You know, with young fighters, you got to catch that second win. And a lot of times it's a psychological barrier to overcome. Can I make it to the 4-round limit? Then can I make it to the 6th round, and the 8th round, and the 10 rounds? You have to kind of will yourself to get to that point.
Henry, another jab by Thomas.
Thomas eating jabs all night long, and Henry finally realizing, I think that's the way he's going to win this fight. The body work's working by Henry also.
Another right hand by Henry.
But he's setting up that right hand with the long left pole he's got.
These are the type of fights you come to see here in Glen Burnie, really, at Michael's 8th Avenue. These type of competitive fights, young fighters, it's really, they hold nothing back. Good body shot by Henry. Thomas trying to work him in the corner. I don't think Henry wants to be there. Henry looking a little weary right now. The body shot by Thomas. Left hand by Thomas. Henry putting everything into those punches.
But he's got to learn to shorten up on those shots. He's really kind of arm punching, Larry, and that's not what you want to do as a professional boxer. You can get away with that stuff as an amateur maybe, but not in pro boxing.
Right hand by Thomas. Henry trying to time Thomas coming in. Thomas's legs are not there from the second round. After Henry hit him with a pretty strong right, Thomas's legs have been wobbling.
He's got something in common with you.
I start to fight with wobbly legs. Once again, good body work by both fighters. Three rounds in the books.
Well, I think it's a very close fight. I've got it Henry 29, Thomas 28.
Let's find out how Ring Magazine's Jon Scheinman has it scored. John?
Well, I've got Mike Thomas ahead 29-27. You don't often see junior bantamweights in a Pier 6 brawl around these parts. This is one tremendous fight. I gave Thomas a 10-8 round with the knockdown in the first round. Andre Henry won the second, 10-9, but I almost wanted to give him a 10-8 in the second round, and I thought Mike Thomas reestablished command in the third.
All right, thank you very much, John Scheinman of Ring Magazine.
Actually, John is right. That first round should have been scored 10-8, and I scored it 10-9. He's correct.
Fourth and final round. Now, do you think that Mr. Henry needs a knockout to win?
I mean, to me, this is a close fight. Even with the knockdown, I think Thomas has really got to win this round outright. You don't want to leave it in the hands of the judges.
You see Henry coming out with some new resolve, missing wildly with the right hands. Thomas's legs are still not there. Henry from a distance gets good leverage. Inside, his shots are smothered by Thomas's brawling style. Henry once again trying to work the jab.
He got hit with a right hand there because when he brought back the jab, he had his left hand too low.
Thomas bullying his way into the chest of Henry, has him cornered in his own corner. Henry cannot afford just to stand there like that.
No, he's trying to turn the tables on him, sucker him in, and then jump out of the corner. He got hit with another right hand by Thomas, right on the button.
Henry in trouble again. Not responding. Thomas.
A left hook.
Big time punch from Thomas. There you go. He backs away. Scores with a right.
Well, Henry's going to have to try to score a knockout here, because he's not going to get credit for those pity pats from the outside like that.
Yeah, the strength being sapped from the body of Andre Henry. Tries to come up underneath. Thomas smothers that. Still a minute and a half to go here in the fourth and final round. Big right hand by Thomas. Henry just keeps on coming. Body shot by Henry. Thomas obviously a very schooled fighter. Oh, right hand just misses by Henry. Thomas sands the socks just like Rooney's former fighter. That's Mike Tyson. Nice right hand by Henry.
Very popular fashion statement in today's boxing ring. The black shoes, no socks.
1 minute to go in the final round.
I like to see guys start their own tradition, you know? Do something different. But a guy like Tyson does get a lot of people copying it. And they don't realize it's Tyson copying a lot of fighters, including Jack Dempsey, the way he cut his hair early in his career.
Henry's corner telling him to work. He's doing all he can. He just does not have the strength that he had earlier in this fight. Thomas backs away, misses an overhand right. Final 30 seconds of this fight. Thomas left himself wide open. Henry could not make him pay.
He doesn't have much left in the tank. No, he's strictly arm punching right now. He's trying to somehow pile up points, but it's not going to matter. He's going to lose his fight unless he lands another right hand like that, and Thomas can't take it.
Time running out, though. The end of this fight.
Good competitive fight.
Very good fight. Andre Henry in his pro debut at 27 years of age showed he has some boxing ability. We're going to take a break, then come back with our official decision. Now for the official decision in a great fight to Pat O'Malley.
Judge Chevalier scores it 39-35, 39-36, Thomas. Judge Holmes scores it 38-37, Henry. And Judge Wingfield scores it 38-38. We have a draw.
A draw, a shocker here at Michael's 8th Avenue as Andre Henry in his pro debut blemishes the record of young Mike Thomas. Certainly a disappointing night for Mike Thomas and Kevin Rooney.
Mike Thomas may have learned a lesson when he let Henry off the hook in the first round, let him come back in the second round and make a fight out of it. I thought it was a close fight, but I thought Thomas won.
A draw sends both fighters home disappointed. Back with more Ballroom Boxing after this.
I'm here with Mike Thomas and Andre Henry, and and an action-packed fight. We don't often see junior bantamweights come around these parts. It turned out to be a draw. I'm going to start off asking you, Mike Thomas. You scored a knockdown in the first round. Did you think you'd won the fight?
Most definitely, I think I won the fight. You know, I had a little edge on it, I believe, but Andre kept his jab in my face and everything, and he worked nice. He worked nice tonight, but I still think, you know, I won the fight.
Andre, very tough first round for you. You survived it and got back to jabbing in the second round. Being that this was your pro debut, was a lot of butterflies going through your stomach after that first round knockdown?
Of course, so it was a lot of nervousness, you know what I mean? And on the other hand, I kind of underestimated Mike. I never seen him fight. I didn't know much about him. I watched him fight on tape. I kind of studied the tape. And me, generally, I'm the type of person I like to box and kind of stay on the outside. Mike had good movement. I thought we both fought our heart out. He's a great fighter. I feel as though I'm a great fighter. The fight could have went either way. And I just give it up to the man. We both fought our heart out. And that's just how it goes. I'm a sportsman.
Well, I'm going to ask you, would you like a rematch?
Sure, we'll do it again one day.
How about you?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
Well, junior bantamweights here at Michael's 8th Avenue.
All right, folks, buckle your seatbelts. Heavyweights in the ring, close to 600 pounds. For the big introduction, here's Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission presents this 8-round bout in the heavyweight division. The referee will be Jodi Wingfield. Let me introduce the fighters. Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the white trunks trimmed in black. From Nelsonia, Virginia, weighing 300.5 pounds, with a record of 8-23 and 5 knockouts. Please welcome Lynwood, Action Jones. To my right, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks. From Mitchellville, Maryland, weighing 298.5 pounds. A record of 10-4, 7 by way of knockout. Please welcome Corey T-Rex Sanders.
Corey T-Rex Sanders looking to bounce back. Has been knocked out his last 2 fights in the second round by Mike Grant. And then Jerry Ballard last June knocked him out in the 6th round. So a layoff for T-Rex. And he gets set to take on the 300.5 pound. Now they got that half in there. Lynwood, Action Jones.
Where do you suppose that half pound came from?
I don't know. Like I said, maybe just a very precise scale.
Twinkie or ho-ho?
Couple of both. So T-Rex against Action Jones. Action Jones knows what it's like to be hit. Sparring partner for Mike Tyson.
He's occasionally been a sparring partner for Tyson. And you can see Tyson apparently didn't do enough body work that day.
T-Rex just a big guy.
Oh, he's hurt already.
He's hurt already. Hit a nerve there. Jones is hurting big time already. T-Rex going to try to put him away.
The fight's going to be over before it started.
I don't know if that was a shot to the ribs, he did a little hop, and he was in bad shape there. Big overhand right by T-Rex Sanders. I don't know what that was, John.
It almost looked like he hurt his foot, too, because he was hopping. I don't know if it was a nerve impulse sent from his central nervous system that found its way down to his foot or what, but it was very odd. Corey Sanders sparred with Riddick Bowe prior to the Collada fight, knocked Bowe down in sparring and training, sending the signal that perhaps Bowe wasn't ready for that fight. And this week, knocked down Hasim Rahman, an undefeated heavyweight and possible future contender. So he's been getting good work in the gym. Let's see if he can transfer it to fight night.
Jones moving forward, shaking his head. Big uppercut by Sanders there. Jones with the sparring partner mentality, wailing away on the body of T-Rex Sanders. Two very big men. Big left hand by Sanders. Good body shot by Jones. Now Sanders looking to overcome the mental heartbreak of those 2 defeats, both by knockout.
Lynwood Jones has been around a long, long time, probably too long. But he continues to try to make a few meager paydays. And let's see if he's going to continue to try to hang in here with Corey Sanders. He's just ripping away at will.
Good body shots by Sanders.
And that's just what Corey should be doing. Forget about the head. Go to the body.
Jones trying to work the right hand as he backs up. The legs of Jones are not there right now. See, Sanders jumps when he throws those punches. He loses a lot of leverage because his feet aren't on the canvas.
No question.
Nice uppercut by Sanders.
I tell you, for as big as T-Rex is, he's not that big a puncher. I mean, he is a huge guy. He just does not have a lot of natural God-given power. Some of that you can work on, Larry, like you said before, when you throw a punch in the correct
That's a low blow there. Clearly a low blow. The referee comes in, gives the warning, as he should. Back for round 2 here at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Big heavyweights in the ring. Lynwood Jones in the white trunks with the black trim going against Corey T-Rex Sanders in the black trunks. The first round, Lynwood Jones really shook up by Corey Sanders.
No question. He was hurt early, survived the round, but as this second round begins, Larry, really puffing hard through that mouthpiece is Lynwood Jones. A lot of grappling on the inside as both men try to impose their will and size on the other. I'd like to see Corey Sanders settle down a little bit behind that jab and continue to throw the right hand to the body as he did right there. It's apparent Corey thinks he can take care of business immediately with these headshots that he's winging at Lynwood Jones. Lynwood Jones, you could just see the look of exhaustion already as those body shots by Sanders begin to take their toll.
Round 2 of this heavyweight fight. T-Rex loads up with the right hand, and Jones is in deep trouble. Look out! Jones falls. That's 300.5 pounds on the canvas. Jones is in bad shape. He nods he's okay. A little wobbly. Referee's going to let him go. Jones moving forward.
He's a lot wobbly, Larry. He's back on his heels.
I don't know if this should go on. T-Rex. Corey Sanders throws Jones into the corner. The referee steps in. He's going to let this go on.
But Jodai Wingfield, the referee, you know he's watching this very closely. This fight is close to being stopped. And Corey Sanders looking at Wingfield as if to say, what more do you want me to do to this man? Put him in a casket? I mean, wow.
Jones has recovered, though the legs are just in cement right now. You see the mouthpiece of Corey Sanders.
I don't know if they're in cement or in pesto sauce. It looks like linguine, those legs. They are really limp.
He's not moving, though. He's not moving. He can barely move forward. The legs of Lynwood Jones completely gone here in round 2. But it looks like he might survive.
Well, and that's how guys like Lynwood Jones get fights.
Big right hand by Sanders.
They're survivors. They're not winners, but they're survivors, and that's what he's doing here tonight. He has come here as the opponent and to survive.
With a body shot.
If he can.
Oh, big round after the bell. Jones throwing a couple cheap shots.
Frustration, Larry, on his part.
Want to welcome in Alfonso Daniels. Well-known DC area fighter. Al, you've headlined here at Michaels. I know you're disappointed that your fight fell through. What do you think about these big guys, Sanders and Jones?
It's definitely exciting. I tell you, Corey Sanders, I worked with this guy in the gym, and believe it or not, I've sparred a few rounds with him.
I don't believe that, Al.
Believe it or not.
You ate a few rounds with him, or you sparred a few
Let's
rounds?
take a look at the replay. The big right hand, and you see the legs of Jones. Do you think this fight should have gone on, Al?
I tell you, the guy got hit, a great, excellent hit, But, you know, he got up, he stood, and he held. You know, he did everything he needed to stand on his feet.
Now, while we have a second here, how disappointed are you that you're not fighting tonight? Your fight fell through at the last minute. Your opponent could not fight.
Oh, I love to display my talent for you guys here at Home Team Sports, but to say I'm upset is to say small.
Yeah, understatement, huh? We're going to invite Al to stick with us here and show Jon Saraceno a few things about boxing. I'd like to see a spar with Saraceno. That's what I'd like to see.
Al, what are you weighing these days?
Right now I'm weighing, I was going to weigh in at 166 for this fight tonight.
Oh, man, you're too small. You don't want no part of me.
You're right. You're probably right. I couldn't get inside of that jab.
Back to the action of the ring. Sanders having his way with Jones. That's another warning for a low blow to Corey T-Rex Sanders.
I tell you what, Larry, I'm not just saying this because Alfonso's sitting right to my left and he could take me out with a left hook, but he displays what some fighters display, but the public does not understand, and that is not all fighters are dumb guys. Alfonso Daniels is one of the most well-spoken young men we've talked to in a long time in any sport, and he's really a credit to boxing. We need more Alfonso Daniels in boxing.
Al, we've had you on the Sports Edge before. Al works in a hospital. Not only a boxer, but you're a hard-working guy as well. How do you have time for everything?
I tell you, I have to start early in the morning. My day starts around 4 o'clock, and I used to be called Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde because during the day I would help people in the OR, and at night I'd take them out in the ring. But currently,
wow, what a tough guy.
Oh, man, he's the best.
I've got a new job.
You do?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm working at the Prince George's County Correctional Facility in Upper Marlboro, Maryland.
Oh.
So I'm working with inmates now.
How about that?
Who knows? You might end up managing some of those guys down the road.
Hey, you never can tell. There's a lot of talent in those prisons.
Mike Tyson's proof of that.
Hit it on the nut.
The fight continues in the ring, and Jones has really weathered the storm well, John. He is actually standing, he is fighting, he's holding his ground.
Well, Corey Sanders has to go back to those body shots that really took his legs away. But instead, he's getting a little bit over anxious. He wants to get the fight over with, so he's going for headshots. And that's typical among fighters, most fighters.
This fight is scheduled for 8 rounds. And I don't know about the stamina of Mr. Jones.
I mean, Sanders is toying with him now. He's showing him this lateral movement, and he's kind of smiling at him. And really, I mean, you're in there to do a job. Get it over as soon as you can. You don't want this guy hanging around in there any longer than he has to.
Alfonso Daniels, you have yourself a fight in the ring. Have you been in a situation where you had a guy right there, you know he's a sitting duck, but just could not find a way to take him out?
Sometimes that's happened once or twice in my career at the current moment, unfortunately. But I think you're absolutely right. Corey Sanders needs to go back to digging that body, and that's something that comes into display with discipline.
End of round 3. More ballroom boxing coming up right after this. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. 2 large heavyweights in the ring, Sanders and Jones. Let's go to Ring Magazine's John Scheinman with a look at the scorecard. John.
Well, especially with the knockdown in the second round, I've got Corey Sanders way ahead after only 3, 30-26 on my scorecard. However, I felt Corey Sanders slowed down his attack a little bit in the third round, and I just wonder what kind of condition he's in.
Welcome back ringside, Larry Michael, Jon Saraceno, and Al Daniels. Ringside, Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Action in the ring. Corey T-Rex Sanders trying to put away the load from Virginia. Lynwood Jones from Nelsonia, Virginia.
Where is that?
Nelsonia, Virginia. I don't know where that is. Al Daniels, you found out when that you would not be fighting on this card this evening?
About 6 o'clock, right after I got off of work at 4:30.
And when you get yourself mentally worked up, did it take you some time to realize that, hey, you know, worse things are going to happen in your life than not getting a fight?
Exactly. You know, at first I was very disappointed, but you know, it could have been something worse. So I'm grateful, but I'm going to continue training, and hopefully you'll see me next month.
Now we see us sneaking up the rankings. Each time I pick up a magazine, your name is moving up.
Hey, until it's number 1, show me the money.
There you go. Corey Sanders has Jones up against the ropes. Jones has been a sitting target since the first round. went down, and really, I thought the fight was over at that point, the second round, John.
It looked like it was. But this guy knows how to survive, and he's shown it again here tonight.
Jones ducking the left hand. Blocks the right hand. Right hand scored there by Sanders. Look at the size of Sanders' legs. This guy's got tree trunks for legs.
He is huge. His calves are twice the size of Lynwood Jones's. And Lynwood is so exhausted he can barely defend himself, and they're going to look for a stoppage right here.
This fight is over. Corey Sanders, a winner here tonight, running his record to 11-4. That is his 8th knockout.
Well, Lynwood Jones is screaming. The fans are booing. But you know what? That was a good stoppage by the referee, in my opinion. What do you think, Alfonso?
I'm a boxer, and I tell you, if I lose a fight, I want to lose it looking up at the sky. You know? Well, safety with the safety problems in boxing right now, you have to make that call.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take a look at how it ended.
Well, look how he rocks back on his heels here, and he's totally defenseless. And when you have a big man like Corey Sanders winging those kind of shots at a guy, well, I guess
a couple of those punches landed, and I think that the inevitable was stopped right there. I think that was a good stoppage. Al, I know the warrior in you says, let's see this fight go on, but I don't think Jones had a chance. What do you think?
Hey, after seeing that replay, can I retract my statement?
You can retract your statement anytime on our broadcast.
Thank you very much.
I think Lynwood Jones is complaining because he had his hands moving and he was trying to deflect some of those shots.
Want to thank Alfonso Daniels for stopping by. Al, we'll see you next time in the ring.
All right, talk to you guys later.
All right, Al,
nice for being here.
Alfonso Daniels. Let's head up to the ring. The official time of the knockout. Let's head up to Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We have a TKO at 2:16 of round 4, and the winner, Corey T-Rex Sanders.
T-Rex, a prehistoric knockout of Lynwood Jones. We'll be back to the ballroom after this.
I'm here with Lynwood Jones, a very unhappy Lynwood Jones. He felt his fight with Corey T-Rex Sanders was stopped prematurely. What do you have to say about what happened?
Well, I gotta say, we need a referee, man. This is a fight game. If we're gonna fight, let us fight.
What do you think he stopped the fight for?
I don't know what he stopped it for. I'm surprised. Amy's probably the guy that was surprised. We is here to fight. Damn it, let us fight. He's a man. Can I get your opinion? You think he should stop the fight?
Very unhappy Lynwood Jones.
I think we should give him a rematch. Ain't no problem with that.
Corey,
He got right. He should have stopped.
I can ask you a question. Do you think he's going? I mean, I have one person to ask you.
If he felt he can go, he can go.
Don't ask me, but don't criticize yourself. You're the man. I give you the credit.
Just get a rematch.
But that's a rematch.
Yeah, we just get a rematch.
That's a rematch. That's bullshit, man.
well, that was two very big heavyweights, and they look like they want to get it on again.
Welcome back to the ballroom. Larry Michael, Jon Saraceno, and a special guest who will introduce our guest after the official announcement of this fight.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman Carl N. Milligan Jr. presents his 8-round bout in the cruiserweight division. The referee will be Kenny Chevalier. Let me introduce the fighters. First of all, to my left, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the red trunks, trimmed in black, from Greenville, South Carolina, weighing 183.5 pounds, with a record of 3-8, 3 by way of knockouts. Please welcome Barry Butler. To my right, out of the red corner, from Baltimore, Maryland, weighing 191 pounds, ranked number 9 by the NABF and number 14 by the USBA, with a record of 16, 2-1, 9 knockouts. Please welcome Courtney, pound for pound, Butler.
Battle of the Butlers, Courtney Butler against Barry Butler, scheduled for 8 rounds. I want to welcome one of the renowned trainers in boxing, Kevin Rooney. And Kevin, before we get into this fight, earlier you had a fighter in the ring disappointing draw for him, Mike Thomas. What do you say to a fighter when a decision comes down like that you think, hey, might not have been the right thing?
Well, before they announced the decision, I told Mike, I said, listen, Mike, you won the fight. I wouldn't surprise me if they called it a draw. And they called it a draw. So, but I told Mike that, you won the fight, and that's just the politics of boxing.
Yeah, certainly plenty of that.
Too much of it.
Yeah, well, you could talk about it all night long, Kevin, couldn't you?
Yes, I could.
All right, Kevin, but as we welcomed you to ringside here, you told us about the weight difference between these two fighters. One guy's at 191, one's at 183. How does that show in the ring, do you think?
Well, it really shouldn't. Like I told the kid when he was talking to me about it, that because they were supposed to make Courtney take the weight off, I said, listen, your manager's supposed to take care of that, but you can't worry about that right now. So, maybe he's overweight, and I told him you should box him a little bit and try to hit him with some body shots to find out what he's got left.
Barry Butler in the red trunks. Courtney Butler, ranked. He's 16-2. He's in the black trunks. He's from Baltimore, Maryland. And John, we've seen Barry Butler before. He's a kind of a survivor type of fighter.
No question, Larry. And more importantly, both Butlers have seen each other before. They've already fought twice. And Courtney Butler has came away with 2 victories in those fights. So they know each other very well in the ring.
Kevin, you had the young Mike Thomas in the ring today, a very young fighter. Why don't you tell us some of the guys you're training that are vying for world championships?
Well, I trained Vinny Pazienza. We've been trying to make the Stevie Collins fight. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But this coming Tuesday, I'm going to be in the corner with a new super middleweight prospect. Omar Sheikar is his name. He was on the 1996 Olympic team as an alternate. He fought the guy from Atlanta. He claims that he won the fight. He's got a lot of talent. Everyone was after him. The Duvas were going for him. King was going for him. Am was going for him. Stan Hoffman was going for him. He ended up sending a tape to Steve Lott and Bill Caton. They sent him up to my camp. He sparred one of my star amateur fighters, and he did well. And now he's under my tutelage. I'm trying to teach him, head movement. Like you saw Mike Thomas move his head. You don't see any of these other fighters moving their head the right way.
That looked familiar, Kevin.
Right, I teach them all.
That looked familiar.
I teach them all the same way, and I'm just hoping that, the guy takes to it and becomes successful.
In the ring, Butler and Butler. Courtney Butler in the black trunks, in the red trunks, Barry Butler.
I'm glad you made that clear, because I was starting to wonder which Butler was which.
Well, when this is over, you can definitely say that Butler did it. Had to get out of the way early.
They're starting to look like they have fought each other twice. They're fainting a lot. You don't see a lot of action. One of them is, I guess, trying to look for that one shot that they think will be a knockout.
And that's probably Courtney Butler, since he stopped Barry Butler twice already, and he's all over Barry Butler right now.
Courtney Butler, very aggressive. Barry Butler against the ropes. He needs to get away from there.
He's on
there he goes. Wow. Barry Butler right in our laps here at ringside.
A tremendous volley of punches, left hooks to the head and body, followed by right hands by Courtney Butler. And I thought you were going to end up holding up Barry Butler there for a minute.
I didn't let the kid fall. And there's the end of the round.
That bell saves him.
Kevin, what does a guy like Courtney Butler have to gain? He is ranked, and he's taking on a kid that he's fought. Why is he fighting this kid?
I guess he's doing it just to stay active and make a payday. Otherwise, he shouldn't be, he shouldn't be fighting him. He should be fighting someone in the top 10.
Yeah, the only way you want to fight a guy.
Let's take a look how Jon Saraceno started running as Barry Butler fell through the ropes.
I couldn't get out of the way fast enough. They were right on top of us. You just see the combination punching, even though it's a little bit...
Most of them are missing.
Wide, correct. Yeah, most of those shots did miss. Good point by Kevin Rooney. But some of those body shots got in there. And I think Barry Butler decided just to get out of the way.
Back to boxing. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno, joined at ringside by Kevin Rooney. Great to have Kevin in the house, watching the fights here in the ballroom.
Kevin, I got a question to ask you about your former heavyweight champion, Mike Tyson. Where do you think he is right now with his boxing? Are we ever going to see the old Mike Tyson?
Nah, you'll never see the old Mike Tyson. The only way that could happen possibly if he came back to Kevin Rooney. But, you know, Don King did a masterful job of stealing him away and ruining a potentially great fighter because we beat all his boys. We brought down Don King's empire. And so then King said, well, I'll just steal him. And Mike bought his BS and stabbed, you know, the two remaining people that Customato would put in there, Bill Caton first and then Kevin Rooney. And, you know, he's been free-falling ever since. And Holyfield's liable to, you know, whoop his ass again.
How do you really feel about the rematch, Kevin?
In the ring, Courtney Butler trying to lay the leather to Barry Butler.
Wow, Courtney Butler, as Tyson would used to say, bad intentions on that right hand. But he's missing with it, too, as Kevin Rooney pointed out. Not all those shots are hitting the mark.
Really turning up the heat.
But when you're that busy, I tell you what, you put a guy in a defensive where the guy stops throwing punches and merely becomes a defensive helpless target. And that's what's happened here to Barry Butler.
He just hopes the guy stops throwing at some point or another. But this guy keeps trying to throw in between. He keeps missing them. I'd like to see if he can land one of them punches, what would happen to to Courtney.
Courtney Butler, 30 years old, out of Baltimore, Maryland. And these are cruiserweights.
Now, Courtney set a real quick pace here to open up. He feels confident. He's beaten this kid twice. And Kevin, confidence mentally in boxing, that has a lot to do with what happens in the ring.
It's huge. It's huge. You know, when you're mentally, you know, confident and you know you can do it, and you're able to control the fear and go out there and throw the bombs with bad intention. Yes, you know, that's the game.
Do you sense that Tyson, even perhaps prior to the Holyfield fight, maybe is not the confident fighter that he once seemed to be?
Oh, definitely. You know, Mike's lost. He's floating in the wind. It's all about money, and that's about it. And you know, Mike doesn't really show any true desire to want to be a champion, to be a great fighter anymore. He's very ordinary. He's very ordinary.
It's almost as if his past,
never happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Back to action in the ring. Good left hand by Barry Butler. Sneaks in and slows down Courtney Butler.
There's a right hand. Ooh.
Yes.
May hurt him.
Now you see Barry Butler's fought him twice. He must have learned something in those two fights.
Besides getting how to get hit.
Yeah.
He did hit him with that right hand, though. And Kevin's right. If he could catch him in those counters, he might have a shot.
Back with more Ballroom Boxing right after this. Michael's 8th Avenue tonight in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno. With us, trainer Kevin Rooney. In the ring, Courtney Butler in the black trunks, Barry Butler in the red trunks. And gentlemen, Barry Butler turned the tide somewhat at the end of the last round.
Yes, he did. He turned it a little bit. Let's see if he can, you know, build on that right now. I mean, Courtney's like laying back now. He's not the aggressive fighter he was in the first two rounds. Maybe Brent has a little power there.
You know, Courtney Butler's from Baltimore. Your fighter earlier in our card here tonight, Mike Thomas from Baltimore. Baltimore slowly becoming a hub for boxing on the East Coast.
Baltimore, we just hit him the left hook. Baltimore is becoming a hotbed for boxing on the East Coast. They're running shows at least once a month, sometimes twice a month, and I love it because, you know, that's what you need. You need a fight base, especially on the East Coast. And I mean, New York City doesn't do anything anymore, and, you know, Baltimore, this gives local fighters, fighters from all over a chance to, you know, come out and show. And they're drawing good crowds, so they're making money. This is what boxing needs. Boxing needs new blood, new promoters, new fighters. You need fighters. You need the best fighters fighting each other. Right now, it's controlled by Main Events, Don King, and Bob Arum. And they don't want to fight anybody. Their best fighters don't fight, they fight bums. And it's just, you know, it's pathetic, and it's ruining the sport. And then every once in a while, Don King now, because he got Holyfield and Tyson under contract, makes a big, huge score on a pay-per-view. But most of the time, the public gets taken for a ride, except last time they got their money's worth, and they'll get their money's worth this time.
Kevin, you're certainly insightful.
He doesn't have many opinions, does he? Kevin, you got to learn to speak up a little more.
I've been working on that.
Courtney Butler, head down, appearing to be a little fatigued here. Now he's expended a lot of energy hammering Barry Butler in this fight.
He went for the knockout. He didn't get it. So
big right hand by Barry Butler. And Courtney Butler is in deep, deep trouble.
Right over the top.
Goodness gracious, Courtney Butler ranked 16-2 in very deep trouble here. And don't forget, Barry Butler fell out of this ring just a couple of rounds ago.
He's got him hurt. Let's see if he can finish him.
Butler trying to hang on. Corey Butler hanging on. His legs are gone. Does Barry Butler have enough to put him away?
We got hit. He came back. Courtney came back.
Kevin, should Courtney be trying to trade right now, or just merely get out of the round?
Right.
Courtney Butler will not let go of Barry Butler.
And that's the way to do it. Hold on, and get back to the corner and clear his head.
He's doing just that. Referee Chevalier having a hard time separating the two fighters.
But a lot of time it's a macho thing. You got fans from both fighters in this crowd. He's beaten them twice before. And he took a tremendous shot there with the right hand.
Whoa. Let's take a look at that big overhand right by Barry Butler. And Kevin Rooney, when you get that overhand right working, does the fighter sometimes stick with? There it is, the right hand. Best punch of the fight for Barry Butler.
Well, when it works, you use it. We got to fight now.
We do indeed. And Courtney Butler, look at him in the corner.
He looks stunned, Larry. In fact, I'm not so sure he's with us yet.
I think he's more than embarrassed. I think he's genuinely hurt. Kevin, he was holding on for dear life.
Yeah, but he did throw a little combination right towards the end of that round, so I think he's coming after it now. We'll see what he does now in the beginning of this round. If he comes out and throws punches, he's back. If the other guy's able to hit him, who knows? Then the major upset in the making here.
Long way to go in this fight. Scheduled for 8 rounds. Cruiserweights. Courtney Butler against Barry Butler.
Don't forget, Barry Butler's only won 5 of his 13 professional fights. So when Rooney says it's an upset, it's exactly that.
Now Courtney came back.
Left hand by Courtney Butler. Overhand right by Barry Butler. And this turned into a war.
Well, Kevin, it looks like Courtney's coming right out, so I guess he does have his senses about him and his legs underneath him.
He's trying to get revenge now. This is a good fight. I like to see fights like this.
Little blood around the right eye of Barry Butler. Nothing to be concerned of. Uppercut by Barry Butler.
I've often said that people don't necessarily have to see big names fighting each other. They just want to see competitive fights.
Right.
No matter if they know who the fighter is or not.
Right. And that's what the sport needs, and that's, and these people are satisfied. And that's why I guess why this guy's able to run once a month and pack them in.
Jon Scheinman viewing the action from ringside. How do you have this scored, John, through 3 rounds?
Well, I tell you guys might not believe this, but I've got Barry Butler ahead, 29-27. I gave him a 10-8 round in the last round for his knockdown. But I only gave Courtney Butler a 10-9 round in the first round, despite him being given a knockdown. I thought the punches were not landing, like Kevin Rooney said. I thought he went through the ropes because he just kind of slid through from getting out of the way. So I've got Barry Butler ahead, and they say 3rd time's a charm. Maybe this is it.
All right, Jon Scheinman. This is certainly a close fight. Courtney Butler looking a little weary. Blood coming from the mouth of Courtney Butler. And Kenny Chevalier earned his money tonight.
It always baffles me why they put a small referee in with big men.
I was going to say, he has a hard time separating these cruiserweights.
And you see it in bigger fights in Vegas at times, too.
Another right hand by Barry Butler scores.
Ooh.
And Barry Butler beginning to win the crowd over here.
They always love the underdog, the crowd, always.
I think he's starting to make a believer out of Courtney Butler, too.
That's exactly right. The only guy he should be concerned with.
Well, a good question here, Kevin, is do you think Courtney Butler really spent himself with that first round? He threw a lot of punches in the first round and actually a lot in the second round early on.
Yes. Yes, I do. I think he took this guy light. The fact he came in overweight and they allowed it. And you're right, he came out smoking, and the guy's still in there and punching back.
Another big right hand by Barry Butler. And Courtney Butler pushes Barry Butler into the ropes.
Courtney Butler, when he throws a punch, I mean, he's looking to knock the guy out each and every time. I mean, he is like throwing from the canvas.
And the old saying, when you look for the knockout, it hardly ever comes.
Butler versus Butler. Courtney Butler in black, Barry Butler in red. Very close fight here at Michael's 8th Avenue. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno and trainer Kevin Rooney. And Kevin, you know, the ebb and flow in a fight, Barry Butler, I would think will really benefiting from the confidence from that one knockdown.
You know, he came out this round, I just looked at him. He came out this round, he looks like he's in control, and he's very confident. The Courtney's got to hit him with a good shot, or I think that he's in for a long night, he's going to lose.
Blood from the mouth of Courtney Butler. And he was bleeding heavily from the mouth. And Kevin, I guess when you swallow that blood, that doesn't do you any good.
It don't taste good, that's right.
Kevin, how much does it take out of a fighter when he misses with a big punch and hits nothing but air?
It takes a lot out. You lose balance, you know, and you lose your energy, and you get a little confused because you think, I can't hit this guy. And if you're not in top shape, you know, it gives you that excuse to start quitting, and that's the mind games that are played all the time in fighters' heads.
Beautiful body shot by Courtney Butler.
Left hook.
Barry Butler has Courtney Butler in trouble. Back and forth this fight goes. Courtney Butler holding on for dear life. He's going to go down.
Body slam to the canvas.
He did the right thing, didn't he?
Ken Chevalier saying that's not a knockdown. That Barry Butler tackled Courtney Butler.
That wasn't a knockdown. He threw him down.
But Courtney Butler is in trouble right here.
He was hurt. He was hurt. That's
no
right.
question.
No question about that.
Comes in to hold on again. The Chevalier might be thinking about taking some points away for those holding tactics of Courtney Butler.
Boy, Courtney's legs are very unsteady.
He's ready to go. Whether or not Brent can do it is another question. His record probably says he's not able to do it. The fact he's fought him twice, he should want to do it.
Big left hand by Courtney Butler, trying to fight back. Back and forth, the momentum in this fight shifts.
Courtney Butler loves to throw that left hook. The last one kind of deflected off the side of his face, didn't really hit it solid. Barry Butler needs to get that right hand up a little bit higher, don't you think, Kevin?
Yes.
Keep getting hit with that left hook.
Yes, he does. You know, he's fighting like an opponent now. You know, he's laying back. Then every once in a while, you know, he springs out, he throws the combination, he hits him, he hurts him, but then he can't get rid of him.
And that sometimes could be a function of conditioning, too, couldn't it?
Yes. They exchanging blows here, nothing really happening. Nobody landing anything.
The grappling continues. Well, Chevalier trying to separate the two fighters.
I mean, this fight has been fought at a torrid pace, and you got to figure at some point the fatigue factor is going to set in one or both fighters.
Right, and right now it looks like both. I think this fight, you know, whoever lands another clean, hard shot will probably end up being the winner.
Scheduled for 8, Barry Butler and Courtney Butler. Back with more from the ballroom in just a moment. Battle of the Butlers in the ring right now. Both fighters have been down. Both fighters are weary. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno and Kevin Rooney. And Kevin, as you take a look at these two guys, who do you think has more left in the gas tank?
Well, Courtney's coming out. He's bouncing up and down on his toes, so he's showing that maybe he's going to do something this round. I think it's equal. I have the other Butler, Brent, winning, but that could change with any clean shot by Courtney or Brent on Courtney.
Let's see what Ring Magazine's Jon Scheinman thinks about the scorecard. John, what do you have?
Well, guys, call me a liberal, but I gave Barry Butler a 10-8 round in that last round. I think he's really been socking Courtney Butler with a lot of hard shots. I have him way ahead at 49-44, and I think Courtney Butler is going to have to score some knockdowns to win this fight. I will say this, he's a resilient fighter. I've seen him a lot throughout his career, and even when Courtney Butler looked exhausted there, I knew he had a lot left in the tank.
All right, Ring Magazine's Jon Scheinman. Do you guys agree?
Well, I think it's a little bit closer of a fight than that, and I think Courtney Butler is still in it. Although he's trailing.
I think he's losing, but he's in it, sure. This is what, round 7, right?
Action continues, and an official from the State Athletic Commission coming up to wipe off the canvas during this fight.
Right hand
by Courtney Butler, and Barry Butler hurts it. He did learn that from Courtney Butler.
That could have been the punch. Who knows? Let's see if he can follow up. These guys don't punch to the body.
Nice uppercut by Courtney Butler. Double left hook thrown in there.
A little bad blood between these two fighters.
That's frustration, don't you think, Kevin?
Yes.
He believes he should have got this guy out of here before.
Right, and now he's like, you know, He's got to know he's behind.
Ken Chevalier, the referee, trying to take control.
I mean, he's doing a good job. Don't get us wrong. The referee's doing, you know, a great job. It's just, you know, it would be easier if you had a bigger referee in there.
Less than a minute to go in this round. Wild left hook missed by Courtney Butler.
Courtney Butler still throwing bombs.
He's going for it. He's got that bad intention. He says, I got to knock this guy out. I want to knock him out. I just got to get to him.
Courtney Butler's been on his toes this whole round, so the question about who has more in the gas tank, I think, has been answered in this round.
Yes. And Brent's starting to, you know, go back into that mold of just laying back, not trying to get hurt, not trying to win.
If he's not careful, Kevin, he could end up giving this fight away.
Yes, he can. See, the exchange blows there. No one landed.
He's being very respectful of Courtney's power right now.
Too respectful. He should be out there jamming, you know, throwing a bomb every now and then. You know, he's fighting like he's supposed to lose.
A lot of times your best defense is a very good offense. And right now, Courtney Butler has most of the offense going for him.
Boxing on HTS, Ballroom Boxing from Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno, joined by trainer Kevin Rooney. 7th round here between these two cruiserweights, scheduled for 8. And this fight has gone back and forth, 2 rounds to go. Courtney Butler, though, has found some energy from somewhere, Kevin.
He looks good. In my opinion, he needs to win his next 2 rounds, you know, convincingly, and he'll win the fight. This is a good fight. It's a very entertaining fight.
That's what the fans come to see here.
I'm telling you, Baltimore, I'm impressed. You know, they put on good shows, and this helps boxing.
Big left hand by Courtney Butler.
A lot of misses. That landed. That was a jab.
And Courtney grabs a hold.
He doesn't really set down when he throws that left hook, does he, with Courtney Butler?
There's a lot of arm there. A lot of arm.
Now, Courtney Butler showing more movement than he's shown at any other time during this fight. Good strategy?
I don't know about that. I think the strategy, if he's moving that now, he's attacking. He's got to attack. He's got to throw. He's got to land, you know, convincing shots.
Kevin, right now he's fighting away like he's ahead.
Right. And he's not.
You never know in boxing. You never know how the judges see a fight.
Well, he may know more than we know because we don't have him ahead, but it's a very close fight. What he's doing is he's trying to use the lateral movement and the jab, and then he's stopping to get off those big power punches, but he's doing less of that in this round.
Yes, he is. I mean, he just landed a combination, and then he started running.
This is the least amount of action we've seen in any round. Under 2 minutes to go here in round 7, scheduled for 8.
I mean, they're both saving themselves for the last round. Ooh, sloppy right hand.
Kevin, maybe Courtney Butler figures his opponent in there doesn't have the legs to keep up with him, and he can merely outbox him and win the round and not take a chance.
That's true, maybe, but this isn't amateur boxing, so really, you know, that's a big risk he's taking.
Once again, the referee, Ken Chevalier, has to separate the 2 fighters.
There's no question that Barry Butler is more spent physically than Courtney Butler. You can just see his mouth hanging open. He's unable really to cut off the ring effectively.
Right, he's not throwing any punches. You're right, John.
Courtney Butler has that left hand held low. Barry Butler could pull the trigger. He's done it before in this fight, and here they lock up again. Under a minute to go in the 7th round.
In my opinion, either one of these fighters can win this round. If it continues the way it is, though, then you have to give it to Courtney. But if Brent opened up, you know, I'd give it to Brent.
A lot of times a fighter will steal a round at the end with a fast flurry and a finish, right?
Last 30 seconds.
And we saw Sugar Ray Leonard do that to Marvin Hagler 10 years ago. Steal rounds by flurry in the last 30 seconds.
He was able to steal that fight.
End of round 7. We're going to keep it right here. Barry Butler looking a little dejected as he goes to his corner. Let's head to the red corner and see what's going on with Courtney Butler.
Hasn't got hit anymore. He hasn't got hit like in the last couple of rounds, so that's a major victory for them, I guess.
And before we get this last round started, let's check in one final time for this fight with Jon Scheinman and see how he has this scored. Jon.
Well, I can understand how you guys see this as having a close fight, but on my scorecard, I still have Barry Butler ahead 67-64 going into the last round. However, he got a 5-8 record for a reason. He's entered into a losing mode and a sparring partner type mode over these last 2 rounds, and I think Courtney Butler can take him in this final round.
Well, I agree with that, but we got to see if he's going to come out and try to do that.
Well, he's starting this last round much the way he fought the previous round, Kevin. Using lateral movement behind the jab because he knows Barry Butler no longer has the legs to cut him off. But he's fighting as if he's ahead in the fight, and I think we agree that that's a mistake.
Yeah, I think he's going to lose the fight. There's Brent trying something anyway. Maybe Brent's going to throw something here. Who knows?
Now, your judges always take a look at this differently. The guy moving, actually, he's controlling the fight because Barry Butler can't do anything to stop the movement.
Well, he's not cutting off the ring.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to score any points for movement. You're supposed to score points on landing punches. Well, if he just moves the whole round, doesn't throw anything, I wouldn't give him a round. I'd call it an even round.
Courtney Butler's exhausted. You can see his mouth open. Trying to leg this fight out in the final round.
I do not quite understand this strategy employed by Courtney Butler here in the last couple of rounds.
Less than 2 minutes to go in the final round.
He has to know that the fight is close. And when it's this close, you got to go out, as Kevin Rooney says, and take the round from the other opponent.
Hey, he's throwing not exchanging.
And that's done with effective aggressiveness and effective punching. And he's really doing much of either in the last couple of rounds.
Right, he's doing exactly right. They had a little exchange there, but now he's back to, on his bicycle.
I wonder, Kevin, could he be hurt? I mean, could he have I don't know. Could he have a bad right hand? Could something be bothering him where he figures, I'm just going to gut this out and try to eke out a decision?
It's possible.
The way he's run the last 3 rounds, he certainly has not wanted to fight the way he did earlier in the fight. Just for whatever reason, he doesn't want those confrontations.
Well, in some of those battles, he got the worst of it from Barry Butler, no question about it. But once Barry Butler became fatigued, it became clear that Courtney Butler was getting into more power shots, and he was taking control of the fight. He's trying to do it right here again.
Into the final minute of this fight. Fighters exchange punches. Courtney Butler momentarily switches to southpaw. See the legs of Courtney Butler just having a hard time keeping him up.
He looks shot.
He's rubbery too.
And if Barry Butler could just find that one punch, a knockdown here would surely win it for Barry Butler.
That was a good right uppercut.
Right on the button.
Now, in my opinion, that's enough to win this round for him, unless the other guy comes back.
The end of this fight, Courtney Butler looking a little dejected. Barry Butler has his hands held high. Who is the winner of this fight? We'll find out right after this. Before we get the official announcements, Kevin Rooney, thank you so much for joining us on that last fight. Your analysis is very insightful.
Thank you very much. Anytime, man.
All right, a hard-fought battle of the Butlers. Courtney Butler and Barry Butler. Let's find out who won it. Let's go up to Pat O'Malley. Pat?
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Judge Holmes scores it 76-74. Judge Wingfield scores it 76-74. And Judge Malik Waleed scores it 75-all. We have a majority decision, and the winner is Courtney, pound for pound, Butler.
Courtney Butler makes it 3 in a row over Barry Butler. And John, you said it before, no matter whose hand is raised in victory,
they're gonna boo.
There you go. So Courtney Butler wins it. Majority decision. Back with more Ballroom Boxing after this.
I'm here with Barry Butler, who just lost a majority decision to Courtney Butler. You scored a knockdown in the fight, but the judges didn't see it your way. How do you feel about how the judges scored this fight?
It just feels like I can never win in Maryland, right? I try, I fight, I train hard every day. Nobody has to tell me to run. I run my ass off, and I train so much. And it seems like I have to damn near murdered a guy to win a fight. Even though it's close, I showed the resilience to come back after being knocked down myself. I knocked him down. I think I displayed more heart than what he expected. You know, all that rank stuff, and he outweighed me probably about 10 pounds or more. But I just showed him I come to fight.
You fought Courtney Butler 2 times before this fight. How much did you learn from those first 2 bouts, and what did you employ from the learning experience in this 3rd time around?
Thing about it, the first time we fought, see, it was the first time I came up to Maryland and fight. I didn't have proper training. I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing. And pretty much I gave up the 3rd round. He came on and the referee saw that I wasn't trying to fight. And he won that fight. And we fought back in last June, and he won a majority decision, 6-round decision. I had him out the 2nd round, and you know, he stayed away from me just like he did in this fight. And I improve every time. I doubt he won. I doubt if he fights me again, because I improve better this time than last time. Each time I get better. And this time I scored a knockdown on him. But it seems like I can't win in Maryland unless I damn near murdered a guy or knock him cold. So, you know, back to the drawing board.
Well,
thank God for keeping me.
Three tough fights between Barry Butler and Courtney Butler. Maybe he'll get a 4th shot at him.
Welcome back to Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Time for our main event in Ballroom Boxing, a rematch. It's going to be Reggie Green taking on Ken Jamison. And about 3 years ago, on June the 10th, a controversial decision. Reggie Green winning that bout over Jamison, 8-round decision. Some people thought that Jamerson won that bout. And tonight, Jamison thinks he has a physical advantage over Reggie Green.
I mean, it ain't no biggie, and I got the height over the guy. I got the reach over the guy. I've been in this sport 17 years. I feel I'm a better boxer than the guy, which I know I am.
Now at this time, to sing the national anthem, the very best at it, Glen Burnie's own Tim Koenig.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Tim Koenig, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back to Glen Burnie, Maryland. Michael's 8th Avenue Ballroom Boxing. Great to have you with us for boxing action. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno. We're joined at ringside by women's boxing champion Christy Martin. And Christy, when is your next fight? When are we going to see you in a ring again?
Well, we're looking at the end of April, maybe on ABC Wide World of Sports.
Oh, fantastic.
And I'll be headlining my own show.
Christy, before the main event gets underway, when you go from place to place, do people recognize you? Do they say, hey, you're the boxer?
A lot of people at the beginning said, hey, aren't you that woman boxer? But now people are saying, hey, aren't you Christy Martin?
There you go.
So I know we're getting out there.
All right, Christy Martin with us at ringside. We'd like you to stay for this main event, and we'll get your commentary because, hey, maybe after this, you and Saraceno go after it.
No, no.
No, I don't know.
No?
I've heard some bad, wicked stories on Saraceno.
Oh, boy. They're all true, so be careful.
All right, main event in the ring. Let's get the introductions from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission presents the main event. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman Carl N. Milligan Jr., Commissioners Ben Alperstein, Michael Arrington, Charles P. Brown, and J. Lee Harden. The referee will be Gary Campaneschi. The Executive Director of the State Commission is Patrick Piniella, and Ballroom Boxing promoters Mike and Scott Wagner and matchmaker Josh Hall and Scott Wagner present this 10-round bout in the junior welterweight division. Let me introduce the fighters. First of all, to my left, fighting out of the blue corner and wearing the black trunks, weighing 141.5 pounds, from Muskegon, Michigan, with a record of 8-15-1, 2 by knockout. Please welcome Ken, the man, Jamerson. To my right, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the silver trunks trimmed in black, weighing 141 pounds, from Tuxedo, Maryland, with a record of 22-2, 9 via the knockout. He's ranked 4th by the North American Boxing Federation and number 8 by the United States Boxing Association. Please welcome Reggie Showtime Green.
Reggie Green, 22-2, and Christy, Reggie Green has knocked on the door at the top of his weight class. He suffered a defeat to Charles Murray, a disappointing defeat, a knockout in the second round back in '95. How long before you think Reggie Green gets back up to the top and has a chance at a world title?
Well, I think Reggie Green is a very confident fighter. He has great people working with him. I think only a few fights, and he'll be ready to knock on the door for a world title.
Where'd you get the nickname Coal Miner's Daughter?
My father was a coal miner, so it kind of fits.
All right, we're ready for our main event. Reggie Showtime Green, and John, he and Ken Jamerson are familiar with each other.
Well, they fought a couple of years ago, and that fight ended in a disputed decision won by Reggie Green over 8 rounds. Very controversial fight. Many people thought that Reggie Green lost that bout.
Jamerson does not have much power, just 2 knockouts in 24 fights thus far.
One thing you notice right away about Jamerson is how dry he is coming into this first round. I wonder if he's warmed up properly.
You look across the ring and you look into the corner of Reggie Green, you see some familiar faces, huh, John?
Well, if you're familiar with Sugar Ray Leonard, you're familiar with Dave Jacobs, one of his very first trainers at Palmer Park, Maryland. Irving Malloy.
Also formerly of the Sugar Ray Leonard camp. Christy, what about the atmosphere here at Michaels and in these type of venues in general? A good place to see fights. How about in the ring? The crowd is right on top of you. It has to be different in the ring than in the big venues.
Personally, I think it's great to be in a smaller place where the crowd is right on top of the ring. You can feel the crowd. You can feel the excitement. When you land a good shot, they're going to get behind you.
Left hand there by Jamerson. The Green caught on the elbow. Did not land as solidly as some people thought in the crowd.
Reggie Green's last fight was on October the 10th of '96. 12th round TKO over Anthony Suggs in Washington, D.C.
Anthony Suggs just returned from Ray Leonard's camp as one of his sparring partners. Been around a long time, fighting out of Alexandria, Virginia, in the area.
And you're right, Jamerson has not worked up much of a sweat here, but I guess he will in this first round. Huh?
And he's showing a lot of respect here early on for Reggie Green.
It seems as though Reggie Green has been in with much tougher competition lately, so maybe he feels much more confident this time around.
No doubt about it, Reggie Green is ranked. And like I said, John, knocking on the door, and I know it's frustrating for Reggie after getting himself in the position to make a move, to get the setback to Charles Murray, and now have to start over.
Well, that was a big loss for Reggie. They've talked about possibly matching him up with a fellow Washington fighter that we're familiar with, Scheinman Mitchell.
No doubt about it. Good body work by Reggie Green. Jamerson counters with the left. Christy Martin, do you think boxers nowadays neglect body work?
I think so. Everybody wants to get the spectacular knockout, but I'm fortunate that my husband is from the old school, and he teaches me to go to the body, get those hands down, and then go for the knockout.
And knockouts don't happen a lot of times when you go for them. It's almost a product of a residue from all the body work and the other punches you set up for.
That's the end of round one. We'll be back after this. Round two of our main event underway at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno with us as well. Women's boxing champion Christy Martin. Reggie Green has certainly the tougher resume than Jamerson. Reggie Green, though, coming into this fight against Jamerson, it was a controversial decision in Reggie Green's favor last time. Any ramifications here, John?
No, I think it'll just make Reggie Green much more determined to show people that indeed he should have been the winner the first time around. He doesn't want to leave any doubt, particularly with the judges this time around.
Christy, you know, as you were around the ring here before this main event, a lot of fans asking you for autographs. Do you feel any special pressure that women's boxing, in many people's minds, is Christy Martin? Now, I don't remember. I know a couple of other women boxers, but I don't think the general public knows anyone but you. Do you feel a special pressure on yourself because of that?
Sure, I feel a lot of pressure that I'm under a microscope each and every time out. I have to win over the crowd. I have to win over these media guys that are looking for me to make a mistake. But it sure is. It's a lot of extra pressure.
Speaking of media guys, this media guy would like to ask you, are you still going to fight for promoter Don King? Has that been worked out yet?
It hasn't been worked out. We have a court date for 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Oh, Reggie Green pushed back by Jamerson. Pure slip there. As their feet got tied up, and Jamerson just pushed Reggie Green down.
Well, Jamerson has been using a lot of side-to-side motion to try and stay away from Reggie Green. Now you see him stepping inside a little bit more, trying to establish some kind of an inside game.
John, Jamerson is 8-15-1, but a very tough guy to look good against.
He's kind of an awkward fighter, and a lot of times records can be somewhat deceiving. He's had a very checkered career thus far, obviously losing 2 fights for every fight that he wins. I mean, most people would look at the record and say, why is he even in the ring with Reggie Green? But boxing, of course, is a matter of styles. And Reggie Green has got to solve the style that he's got in front of him. And he's trying to do it with an attack to the body.
Left hand by Jamerson finding the mark.
Jamerson really not much of a puncher, and using his arms more than setting down and using torque from his waist and legs. Then again, he's not a very big guy, even for a junior welterweight. Very small legs and not a strong upper body. So he's got to primarily try to make his living by boxing. Now he's on the inside there. He's taking punches, Larry. He doesn't really need to take. First of all, he's not firing away to keep Reggie Green off of him, and he's on the inside, making himself a complete target.
Yeah, you know, Christy, it seems like Jamerson is moving into Reggie Green's punching range.
And that's what it's about. It's being in the right range.
I want to thank Christy Martin for joining us here ringside for Ballroom Boxing. Good luck for the rest of your career. We're all behind you, Christy.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
All right, back with more from the Ballroom after this. Welcome back to the Ballroom, Michael's 8th Avenue. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno. Round number 3, and Jamerson goes down. And didn't seem like much of a punch, but I think it was. Jamerson is down. Then a punch, and Jamerson will not get up.
And the referee can't figure out what's going on here either. Gary Campanucci. I don't know, I guess he just wanted to take a blow.
Oh, that was a very tight, quick punch by Reggie Green. And that rocked Jamerson. Jamerson had to go down, and the referee couldn't believe it.
And Reggie Green wants to finish off the job right now, Larry. He's really digging to the body and then going upstairs. Look at the look on Reggie Green's face. Oh,
big uppercut.
Great uppercut. Snapped his head back.
Big knot over the right eye of Jamerson. Overhand right by Reggie.
Reggie Green really starting to set down on his punches and find the target. And really, the problem for Jamerson here, he does not have enough of a punch to keep Reggie Green off of him. And when a fighter senses that he has another fighter in front of him who does not have the power to keep him off, he's going to move in for the kill. And that's what you're seeing Reggie Green do here in the 3rd round. He's really turning up the pressure on Jamerson.
Does Reggie Green look like a different fighter here now under the tutelage of Dave Jacobs?
You know, I think it's too early to say. I think you're going to have to see him in a real fight against a real live guy in front of him. I mean, Jamerson is going to try to survive in this fight. I don't know how hard he's going to try to win this fight because I think he realizes he's outgunned.
Jamerson backing away. Reggie Green pursuing. Good body shot. Jamerson was down in the opening seconds of this round. As the fighters came together, Reggie Green snuck a punch in, put Jamerson down.
And you're right, that knot developing right along the right eyebrow and off the forehead of Jamerson.
Now, a knot like that, it's tough. It could have come from a clash of heads.
It definitely could have been from a butt, but it could have been from a punch, too. A lot of times fighters suddenly swell up from a punch that looks fairly harmless.
Well, a knuckle might get through. And,
right.
Now that swelling, if it's taken care of between rounds with the end swell, it might not be a factor. But if they leave it alone, it could close that right eye of Jamerson.
It looks like it's in a fairly innocuous position. And now referee Campanishi is going to warn both fighters about the dirty inside tactics.
Jamerson comes with a punch and a knee that time.
I caught that knee, but not like Reggie Green caught it.
Reggie Green trying the overhand right. Jamerson smothers him, uses a little bit of head in there. Jamerson doing everything he can to try to mix up the fight. See how it looked at the beginning of this round, John, as Jamerson went down. The right hand in there. It was it a low blow? Was it a short right?
No, I think it was a short right hand, and there was a delayed reaction there by Jamerson, but I think it clipped him right on the button.
So the corner of Jamerson not applying the end swell to that eye, John, and I think that's a big mistake.
Well, they must feel that it's not in a bad position, but you're right. You don't want it to start swelling up even more. At this point, I think they're just trying to get their fighters' attention to keep them in the fight.
Crowd certainly behind Reggie Green here in Glen Burnie.
Well, I've got the fight scored a shutout thus far after 3 rounds. I've got Green ahead 30-27. I don't think that's any surprise to anybody.
Let's see how Ring Magazine's Jon Scheinman has it scored. John?
Well, Jon Scheinman's a little surprised. He's got the fight 29-28 for Reggie Green. Interestingly, Gary Campaneschi, the referee, did not rule a knockdown. Even in that last round, you could see even in the slow motion replay that he crossed his hands, said no knockdown. He never counted, and so I didn't give him a 10-8 round. Another thing I wanted to point out, you were talking about the notables in Reggie Green's corner. Well, in Ken Jamerson's corner is former lightweight champion of the world, Kenny Lane, who held the title back in 1960.
All right, John, good job. Action continues in the ring. A little blood from the nose of Jamerson. Reggie Green on the defensive somewhat here, John. Here he goes, firing the left hand.
Well, Green has chosen this round to backpedal a little bit and maybe try to counter Jamerson. There he tried with the right hand, but he missed.
Jamerson has the height and reach advantage, but really not taking advantage of that advantage.
The 1-2 landed by Reggie Green. And that's when he's doing his best work. He's got to take control of this fight. And you can see Jamerson, the effects of those punches starting to take their toll, Larry.
Combinations from Reggie Green. Upstairs, downstairs, blood streaming from the right nostril of Jamerson.
If Reggie Green would just make a concerted effort right now to begin attacking that body, I think he could probably stop Jamerson. He has just been whacking away at those ribs. And there again, and a lot of times when a fighter gets hit, not even on the waist, but on the leg, it's enough to slow him up if it's a borderline shot.
You can see on the face of Jamerson, he's in pain when he gets hit to the body.
No question.
Oh, downstairs, upstairs. Great combination by Reggie Green.
That's all Reggie has to do. Just keep hitting to the body, and Jamerson will start lowering those hands. And then if he wants to throw a right hand, it's going to be much more effective.
Green has good defensive posture. He keeps his hands up. He's on his toes. Good balance.
Reggie Green has Jamerson right where he wants him. He is dominating this fight.
Combination by Reggie Green. Scoring with the right hand. Goes to the body.
Well, Jamerson's got to start punching. That's the only way he's even going to get Reggie Green to pause slightly. He's not throwing any punches.
For the combination, Reggie Green really digging to the body of Jamerson.
Well, Jamerson may again have that opponent's mentality. He's just trying to survive.
We'll be back with more boxing action right after this. Reggie Green in command here in our main event. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. And John, Reggie Green in that the fourth round, really dug deep to the body of Jamerson. He took a lot of the life out of Jamerson.
I got to believe that's what his corner told him between rounds, because he really made a diligent effort to savagely attack that midsection, and you saw the benefit from it.
Jamerson has not had an answer to the body attack of Reggie Green.
Well, once again, as we stated earlier, he just does not have the power. He does not have the punch to keep Reggie Green off of him. So it becomes a defensive fight, a fight where you see him retreating and maybe trying to sneak a punch here or there in.
Stop punching, break.
He really needs to be busier with the jab. I mean, that would at least give Reggie Green a reason to think twice about rushing in and firing combinations.
Fans are looking for a knockout from Reggie Green.
And you got to know that Reggie Green wants one. That first fight that they had 2 years ago lasted 8 rounds. Reggie would like to put an exclamation point on this fight with a stoppage. But I don't know, at this point it looks like Jamerson is going to take him the distance.
Long way to go in this fight. Scheduled for 10. This is the 5th round.
The question is, can Jamerson physically withstand this body attack? And at what point does he become so fatigued, a good right hand by Reggie Green, that he can no longer hang in there?
Another combination by Reggie Green. Jamerson's hands beginning to fall by his waist. Reggie Green stepping up the attack here in the 5th round.
And Jamerson tried to throw a left hook out there, but he was so far from the outside, Larry, there was no hope of it landing. He's desperate at this point. And you see Reggie Green also showing he's got some boxing ability too.
Oh, nice uppercut. Sneaks it in, the right hand by Reggie Green.
Let's snap Jamerson's head right back. I'll tell you what, you got to wonder how many more sharp punches like Jamerson can withstand.
Reggie Green looking really on top of his game here tonight.
I'd like to see a fight between him and Scheinman Mitchell. Mitchell really depends upon his boxing ability. Reggie Green, more of a boxer puncher, can do a little bit of both.
Now they're taking a point away from Reggie Green. For what? For a headbutt? What's that called? Low blow. Low blow by the referee. And no warnings prior to that taking away of a point.
Well, I don't think it's going to matter in this fight.
Just makes Reggie Green dig down a little deeper.
Exactly. It could actually work against Jamerson.
Reggie Green making Jamerson miss. Point taken away from Reggie Green, but Reggie Green certainly in command of this fight. Back after this. Welcome back to our main event. Reggie Green, 22-2, taking on Ken Jamerson. These two fighters fought each other before. Got to go back in the record of Reggie Green to find it. Back on June the 10th of 1994, an 8-round decision by Reggie Green. Some thought a controversial decision. Some thought that Jamerson won that fight.
We were talking to a lot of people who were at that fight before this bout tonight, and they definitely thought that Jamerson won the bout.
Jamerson is not winning this one. The body shot puts Jamerson down. He loses his mouthpiece. I don't think he's getting up.
Fight's over, Larry.
Reggie Green with a body shot knocks out Jamerson in the 6th round.
Well, we said it earlier. All Reggie Green had to do was attack that body and keep at it. And you got to believe that Dave Jacobs And Irvin Malloy were telling him that in the corner between rounds. This man is ready to go. And he went.
He did go. Good body work by Reggie Green to stop Jamerson. Jamerson just fell flat. Take a look.
You see him avoiding a punch. Reggie Green bending low, being elusive. The right hand deflecting off the arm. Short uppercut. I think you're going to see a left hook to the body.
There it is.
There it is.
So Reggie Green runs his record to 23-2 with 10 knockouts. Let's go to Pat O'Malley for the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner by KO at 48 seconds. Rematch. Now give it to me. Give it to me. Of round 6, Reggie Showtime Green.
If I don't knock him out, y'all ain't gotta pay me. If I don't knock him out, y'all ain't.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Maryland State Athletic Commission, Michael's 8th Avenue and Ballroom Boxing, we thank you for supporting professional boxing. See you back here on May the 14th.
All right, the winner with the body shot, Reggie Green. What kind of satisfaction do you get knocking the guy out with the body shot, Reggie?
Oh, I feel good because he's a real slick, awkward guy. He got a former world champion in his corner, and he moves his head good. He's a veteran. He got 23 fights. He's only been stopped like 2 times by the guy I beat, so I knew it was a hard fight because I fought him in '94.
You know, you looked exceptionally sharp in this fight. Everything seemed to work. To what do you attribute your success here tonight?
To my corner. They was telling me everything to do. I didn't follow the plans. I would have got him out there earlier. But they could see, and they was telling me, and I was trying to load up and hit him in the head, but they was telling me to go to the body. And when I went there, it happened.
Well, you look on top of your game. What's next? I know the folks here at Michael's and the folks in the D.C. area say Scheinman Mitchell. What do you think?
I'll fight anybody. As long as they weigh 140, step on that scale like me, it doesn't matter who it is, because I want to entertain the people and I want the good fights.
When did you know you had him in trouble? You had him in trouble from the beginning. He didn't seem to be able to hurt you. He drew a knot up on his head over his eye early in the fight. His nose was bleeding as well. When did you sense that this fight was over?
Well, my corner kept telling me that he was ready to go, just press him, because he was still kind of strong, so I was taking my time. But they were telling me press him, so I just listened to my corner. When they said go at him, then I had to just pick it up and go at him.
Happy corner, Reggie Green victorious here at Michael's 8th Avenue. All right, so Reggie Green victorious. A 6th-round knockout, a body shot, puts Jamerson down. Now, Reggie Green looked on top of his game here tonight. What do you think, John? How long before we see him in a world title fight?
Larry, I think it's going to be a while before we see that process fully develop. I think first he's got to get a fight against a better fighter, maybe a Scheinman Mitchell, which we talked about earlier. Tonight was a good tune-up fight for Reggie Green.
Well, the fans here at Michael's never go home disappointed. Competitive fights, a lot of action. Boy, the electricity in this building is something else.
Yeah, we've seen that time and time again. We had some shaky fights early on, but I think by the end of the night we saw some real good action.
All right, for Jon Saraceno, this is Larry Michael. Thanks for watching Ballroom Boxing. We'll see you next time, everybody.